Good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to report that we have a decrease, generally speaking, of the most intense severe weather outbreaks. The outlooks are a lot calmer, and we need it. This is a plot of tornado warnings from May 15th through the 20th, so a 6-day period, all over the place, including that long track supercell that started in south central Missouri and produced the London tornado. The St. Louis tornado is up in there. There was an outbreak prior to that day up here in Wisconsin that continued into the night in Michigan. It was a crazy, crazy time. And just the other day, yesterday, we had tornado warnings consistently up through west central Missouri and a lot of activity down here in Oklahoma. A lot of that verified. Oh, yeah, let's not forget the wide, long track tornado in Kansas Sunday night. So it's been crazy, and the numbers reflect it. This is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center at 922 tornadoes now for the year, where 659 describes sort of a normalized trend through 2005 through 2015. So, just kind of a local normal. So we've exceeded that, and you can see the outbreaks here. Now, this I don't think was updated through the 20th. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty accurate. So lots of outbreaks are showing up in here. You can just see these spikes right here. It's been pretty crazy. Now, the good news is that if you look at the climatology of severe weather around May 20th or so, the bullseye for severe weather occurrences is right there along I-35 in Oklahoma. And while that certainly did play out to a certain extent, especially with Monday's severe weather, this is calming down, and we'll show you why here in a minute, at least temporarily. So the visible satellite loop this morning shows a complex of rotations in the upper atmosphere, stretching out of low, cold cloudiness across the northern plains. Pretty nice, rarefied air traveling through the central U.S., but still, as you'll see here in a minute, some of these showers and thunderstorms here could actually kick up their heels a little bit and produce some hail later on today. I'll show you where. If we look at the last 24 hours, tornado reports were right in the center pretty much of where the probabilities for the SPC outlined, especially the Tennessee portion, Kentucky and northern Alabama portion of that storm. We had one renegade tornado there and tucked away in southeast Arkansas. Of course, we don't know the ratings of those yet, but if you've seen social media, you see that some of them are pretty intense. If we look at the hail reports for the last 24 hours, 1 inch or greater, we had a cluster of storms in Illinois, but most of the activity was in eastern Arkansas and especially in central parts of Tennessee and northern Alabama. If we isolated the 2-inch or more hail reports, we had a couple of 3-inch hail reports there in northern Alabama and just south of Nashville. And if you want to look on here, you can see that a baseball-size hail is almost 3 inches. So that's what you're talking about when you're talking about that size of hail. Pretty substantial. And we also had wind damage, or wind reports anyway, to over 60. That's a plot of them. We had a 72-mile-per-hour wind gust near Knoxville over the last 24 hours. Well, over the next 48 hours, the thunderstorm threat, mostly on the East Coast here, a little area where some thunderstorms could still form and be severe. And then we have this little narrow ribbon right here in the central U.S. You can see these little echoes right here from Kansas into southern Missouri. Those are hail producers. And we'll show you the slight risk for severe weather running from southwest Missouri and the north central Arkansas. That's a 2 out of 5 risk. That is all primarily, almost exclusively a hail risk, and there's very little of any tornado risk with that. The CSU probabilities kind of verify that. The tornado risk is on the East Coast with that first area of level 2, and then you see a little blip there of hail in southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri. And the wind gusts are primarily going to be a problem out east in Virginia. The severe weather outlook for Thursday has everything sinking a little more to the south, so parts of western, northern Texas, southern Oklahoma, a small chunk of Arkansas under the gun here. If we look at the SIPS probabilities, that pretty much verifies down there in Texas. And as I said before, a lot of times I find that the CSU learning machine, the outlook here matches what the SPC does quite often. So really it's just talking about hail again and maybe some winds, tornado threat diminishing quite a bit, which is good news. Then we look ahead to Friday and we have another northwest flow is what we call these outlooks. And again, the primary threat from that I think is going to be hail through Nebraska, Kansas, maybe ending in northeast Oklahoma and southwest Missouri. That's on Friday. Again, widely scattered stuff, but mostly cold core aloft, so hail possibilities. Not much in the way of low-level rotation for a tornado threat on any of those. It always needs to be watched, of course, but the good news is that we don't see days and days and days of enhanced and moderate risk, and 10% probability is if EF2 through EF5s, those are gone for a while. So on Friday, the SIPS model is actually highlighting the high plains and not so much this little activity here that we showed you on the last map. And then on Friday, we have a little bit of a bullseye of possible tornado activity there in western portions of Nebraska, along with a hail threat and maybe some high wind threats. And then we go to Saturday. It does kind of want to paint in a little bit of a risk of severe weather more eastward, but the main axis is eastern Colorado to West Texas. If we take a look at Saturday's CSU model, there does seem to be some support for some severe weather. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if SPC does pull out maybe some sort of risk. They probably won't do it in the 4 to 8 day outlooks. But once we get to tomorrow, that'll be day 3 for them, and they may pull the trigger on a marginal risk out there, or maybe eventually even a slight risk on Saturday. It's also accompanied by some pretty heavy rains, by the way, in Kansas and southern Missouri, 4 or 5 inch rains. Sunday, we have kind of a broad brush outlook for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas. So we're getting back into climatology a little bit more here on Sunday. With the highest risk, this does not discriminate between severe weather type. It just says here's the bullseye area. So once again, central Oklahoma is now under the gun on Sunday. Then on Monday, things slip southward again with the establishment of more stable air across the central plains, and the CSU model supports that. Tuesday, back to Colorado, maybe parts of Georgia and Florida. And again, the severe weather seems to be slipping on the edges here where there's more stable air developing here. And the final thing we'll look at is the supercell composite, May 21st today through the 27th, so a 7-day period favors Oklahoma. And a lot of the outlooks, I say this outlook should match what I just showed you, the last 7 days of outlooks, and it comes pretty close. Northern Plains not under much risk. But then we get toward the last days of May, early June. Some interesting areas highlight for supercells, including western Washington and Oregon and parts of Idaho. Then this band here of northwest flow is still established. And then we get into June 4th through the 10th, and that does actually fit climatology pretty well. You expect your hail-producing storms to be in Colorado and Texas and Kansas and Nebraska, and the tornado frequency shifts up to Nebraska during June as well. Thanks for watching today's edition of Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. This is published every day after the morning Storm Prediction Center update. Also, remember to check that site off on day 1 because they update it fairly frequently. If you like this video, please like it. Also, you can subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.